Hi friends, Kansi here from atop Serenity Hill, and today I want to share with you how I make these little collage bundles. I'm going to show you how I make them, but I also want to show you how you can use them in some projects with your art journaling and your, whatever you like to do. Card making, you could even do it. So they all started a couple years ago. I did the 100-day project, which is a challenge on Instagram. And I made about 70. I did not make 100, but I made about 70 of these. And they're just freestanding, as you can see from the back. Sometimes they start with a bigger piece of paper, and then they're just lots of little pieces glued together. And then I had 70 of them, and ended up mailing them out to my email list for whoever wanted to get one. So over the years, I've made them again different ways. Another way that I've done is to actually put them onto cards so that I'm gluing directly on the cards. And this, I think this is a 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, cut up into like 8, 6, however many pieces it works out to be. And then I always put some kind of quote on them when I do that. And this one is edged with a gold paint pen. So I made a bunch of those. You can see all different. And it is a way to just use up all your scraps, which is lovely. So the other thing I've made is a zine, and this one is taped, but a zine is, for those that are unfamiliar, is a single piece of paper that folds up into a little booklet or a zine. I have a video about that. I'll link it out right up here and below for you. And so this was one I taught where I used rubber stamps in the background and then did collage on each page and added a quote on top. So, this can be something for yourself. It can be something to send out as a gift for someone, someone that's maybe a little bit down or not feeling so great. You could send it as a pick-me-up. It would be great as a graduation gift or even as a birthday gift. This could be your actual card. So this one, I have a couple that are started. This one, what I ended up doing is stenciling just a loose pattern across the whole background. So I had something to put the collage on. And then the other thing I like to do is take a little bit of watercolor and bleed the color of the collage out into the page. So this is 2 more other zines that I have started. They're just begun. One, adding the watercolor on that background, like bleeding it out, and 2, just using a Sharpie marker to add marks to it. And the same thing with this, just adding some marks out onto the page. So that's a couple ways that I've used them. The other way that I use them is I do have a couple left, as you saw, just blank, like just the packets themselves or the clusters themselves. Now I can't find it. And I just glued it in this little junk journal, which I will have at some point. I will share how I made. So it's like, your coffee sleeve that you get with your hot coffee. And so I just came in here and there was a blank page and I just glued it down. So obviously I could have just glued it to this page, but sometimes you just want a small project that you can work on something. Obviously these are small, the cards are small, but these are also something fun that if you have them handy, they could be added to a tag or just added in the corner of an art journal page, or you could put together a zine with them, or you could put them on the front of a greeting card and send it out. So today I just wanted to share how I make the clusters themselves loose. And then you can decide if you want to make it as a zine or make it as cards or put it in your art journal. So the other thing I wanted to give you is this, easier to see. This is the quotes that I pretty much use all the time. You might have been in a class or you might be in my membership and have gotten this quote sheet, but if you're new to me and this is different for you, this is not, you know, something you have, then you can get this printable below. It's free. It does put you on my newsletter list, which then gets you other things, because I'm always talking about creativity and different ways of how to keep it really simple, and how to keep a dailyish practice. I send other printables out with there, so it's a good place to be if you want to be on it. So this printable, if you want these quotes, is below, and you can always make up your own. You know, I just did this in Word and found a bunch of quotes I liked and typed them up. Okay, so I have this sheet, and then the only other thing you need, two more things really, is a glue stick. And then I have what I call my box of bits. And so this is that box of all those little pieces that aren't full sheets. They won't fit, you know, in a drawer. I have a drawer for bigger pieces, and then my box o bits. If you're here in the US, then this is a box that you could get at any of the craft stores, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, AC Moore. I think there's AC Moores around still, maybe even Joann's. That has this magnetic closure on it. And I just have this little square. You can see it's about the size of my hand. And however, when it's full, I go through it and I throw out all those bits that just float to the bottom that are just useless. But this is I just need some stuff. So I usually just start with anything, you know, like you could start, if it's helpful to have a base, then you could grab something as simple as, you know, this is a beautiful piece, but I have some here. Something like this, where it doesn't really mean anything. And then from there, I just start adding on, you know, start gluing bits and pieces on. So let me start. I'm going to push this to the side. And my glue sheet, my glue book, that I always have handy because I hate getting glue all over my table. Drives me crazy. So this way of doing it would be to start with a base. This would be similar to working on the card or working in the like an art journal page or working in the zine, but I'll do it this way first, and then I will show you one where I just start building, you know, where I'm not really trying to, ooh, fun. I'm not trying to put a base down. I'm just building on the little bits here and there. So I start with just whatever strikes my fancy as I'm pulling things out. You know, I love a torn edge, so I might have torn this, but I know that I'll probably add more stuff around it, so I'm not going to tear it. But I love the way torn paper looks. So, you know, I'm always tearing paper. The other thing that I want to do is make sure that, personally for me, that I have a little bit of a color here and there. So I've got some of this pink. I could go back and pull this same pink, or this has a similar color feeling to it. So I might put some of that down. I'll just twist it around here. And then I just, you know, just keep playing with it and adding bits here and there. I want it to have a fairly good, you know, representation of any color I put down. I don't want it to be screaming, where's the rest of that color? You know, like right now I have some purple here. So in my bits box, I have some purple. So maybe I'll go up here and add some. So it kind of balances it as you're going. You probably noticed that I'm kind of staying away from the center right now. Not doing that necessarily on purpose. But if it helps, you could also pick out your quote ahead of time. I might go with this one just because it's easy. It's on the edge of the paper. Again, I'm just tearing. If you like it to be straight, cut with a pair of scissors. I like the messy, you know, messiness of the way it teared. torn paper looks. So if you pull this out, you can also get an idea of, if that was about your center, I don't necessarily need to put anything there if I don't want to. And, I'm loving this blue. And again, I'm just ripping paper, gluing it down. If I cover something, I cover it. I'm going to go back into my box and see what's there. So this covers both the purple and the blue, which seems to be something I'm doing. I seem to have like a bit of. And then this is a good point where I have this straight white edge, and I know that when I glue it down, I won't like it. So I'm going to rip it off and glue it down and see. So sometimes starting with the piece underneath limits me, because then I feel like I have to cover it, and it's a little annoying. I almost prefer to start without it, but I know that for some people starting with all these little bits could get a little unwieldy. So starting with that base piece, it didn't even have to be this big. It could have been just something small, is helpful. You could also just rip it off and just, be like, I don't want that. So I love this purple. It still feels like this purple, maybe up here. Let's see. So rip this purple. Yeah, see how it helps the eye travel a little bit better. Same thing with the way this green travels, this pink travels. Okay, that's how I know for me it's balanced in my eyes. This always has to be balanced in your eyes. So you have to decide where, if your eyes are traveling around it and it keeps snagging on a section, like ask yourself, is it because there's not more than one of those colors or textures or patterns or whatever it is that you did? Yeah, like I like that. I like how it's sticking out really crazy on this side, but it's straight up there. That works for me. I'm okay with that. If it wasn't, and that might be kind of fun, actually, I'm going to do that. So as I'm doing this, I realize I love the way how jagged all that is. So can I do the same thing down here? Can I find something kind of unusual? Maybe. That just breaks up. Yeah, that looks good. The edge a little bit. So it's not so straight. I mean, if I'm going to spend all the time ripping paper, I might as well not. See how the difference almost looks like an itty bitty bird sitting up there. Okay, and then let me add my quote. All right, so I still have this blank space and this little space that I know the quote is going to cover, so I didn't bother going there. Okay, and then there it is. So this could go on the front of a greeting card if you wanted. If you decided afterwards that you love the idea of putting it on cardstock, you could, cut out cardstock that matched it. I've even put it on, let's see if I can find a piece. I've even put it on cardstock that was, a color. So you could just tack it down to this. You could use those sticky pop-ups that people like to do to make dimensional so that it sat up from the card. And when I mail these out to all those people, I just put a very tiny piece of tape on the back and stuck it to this so that it would make it through the mail. And then I found out that a lot of people took it just like that and framed it. And so it can also be in a frame. It was so pretty. I saw one in person. A friend here locally did it, and it was just really beautiful that it was framed and sitting in her bookshelf. Okay, so lots of things that you can do with this. It doesn't have to, you don't have to make those decisions now. You can just play with them and see what comes up. So if I was starting from just collage and not putting something down, oops, all these are speaking to me, and this is speaking to me. Like, this is why also why I love going through this box, because you just never know what's going to talk to you. So the pieces I've used, I'm pushing off to the side. And, you know, I love this magazine piece. I've been, as you can see, ripping it a million times because I love all these itty bitty pieces. So I'll start with something like this. So it does have, I love this, so I don't want to cover it, but that would give me something to glue onto next. I also use lots of different textures of paper. So the piece right here is magazine. This piece right here is, I think it's cardstock. It feels very thick, so it's possible that it's mixed media paper, but it doesn't matter to me. I like the idea of all the different textures together. I would even use, you know, like this is deli paper. I might give it a minute because the deli paper might look better or attach better on top of something. So that's really fun. And, you know, maybe I want to glue this on this. So put my glue. Is that the piece I wanted? I feel like I cut a smaller piece, but maybe, yeah, I did. Like, that seems kind of large. All right, so got that. I've got that. I mean, I've got this fun. That might be interesting. So I'll add some glue on the edge and just tack it down. So this is where it gets a little messy, in that, you know, as I'm working on this, the glue is going to be everywhere. But that's okay. It's almost like working with a puzzle. So a little bit of glue on the back of this one. So you can see, like, having a piece on the back has its advantages, so that you do have something to glue it all to, but it's not necessary. It can be, oh, this is fun. It's not necessary that it be like that. You can do what I'm doing, which is, you know, keep adding to it. Oh, that's fun. Okay. So again, just keep adding. And so you can see this one has way more of an organic shape. Because I started with this rectangle piece, this one ended up in a rectangle, but I made it a little more organic around the edges. This one has no shape. I haven't started with any shape. I'm kind of just playing and seeing what happens. So I've got some green here. I put this brown paper here. So the next thing that caught my eye was all this yellow. Like, that might be kind of fun as a balance. So I think I'll do that. And I hope this helps to have me kind of talk it out loud. And so, you know, I always find it interesting how someone's thinking something through. You know, what's going through their mind as they're doing it. That's kind of fun. You know, why are you making that decision? And the decisions I make might not be ones that you would make, and that's okay. That's how you learn what you like and what styles and designs and concepts excite and interest you. If we all made the same decisions, life would be boring. All right. I'm liking the weird shape of this. So I've got purple here, I got purple here, but I think if I took a little bit I tucked a little purple under there. I think that would be fun. And so I'm really making decisions as I go, depending on what shows up. Like, you know, do I want to turn this? Oh, that's even more fun. Like, this is interesting, but when I turned it, I like the way it balanced better. This feels almost done to me. I don't know how much bigger. I don't like to get them too big anyway. The only other thing is I love this paper, and it's, as much as I put this on, you know, balances of 3 also are important. Yeah, I think I'm going to tuck that in there. I'm going to put this there, and then you might have to go back and glue stuff down. But now it balances here. I've got a little purple, and maybe, again, how I know it's done is I can look around it and my eye doesn't stop. It doesn't scream, keep going. Or it doesn't go, oh, that's missing, you know? And so if you've noticed, I tend to do, I do a lot of it consciously, but subconsciously, the rule of thirds just is how I create. If I put something in an area, I tend to put it in 2 other areas, okay? And these red are good for me because there's bits of pink here and here, so that's not screaming at me. I'm liking that. Okay, so now I need a quote. And so this is one where I didn't build it around the quote. So I love so much of this, I don't want to really cover it up. So I think, which is handy, this one's right here, I'm going to go with one of the smaller quotes. So that might be also something for you to think about. You know, have you fallen in love with the way that you've put it together? If you have, then you might need, like, you know, a single word, or it, you know, maybe you just like the collage and you're just going to leave it as it is, and it's just a bundle and you're happy. And then you can cut this. So I trimmed it where I even ripped off a bit of the T, but I'm okay with that. So now it also doesn't have to be in the center. So I can kind of audition it, and I kind of knew, like, this section, it would work. And that, you know, that's for making a lot of these. That just comes from having made, you know, well over 100 of these. You do the 100-day project, you get really good at, you know, seeing ahead. Okay. So there is another little bundle. So we've got our 2 little bundles. One started on a base and one just started gluing to see what happens. And now I have something I can put in an art journal. Again, put it on a card. You know, none of these, this card is kind of small, but it would work. If I was doing it in the zine, I would probably build it straight in the zine. It just is easier because then you have the constraints of the size of the zine. But if you're just making them to maybe put in an art journal page later, let's open this and see if there's, you know, that would even work. Like, this would even work with what the magazine, because this is a junk journal, which I made this magazine page. I already have this little piece of tape in here, but I have more of this, so I could even put another piece down here to balance it, and that would go really beautifully. I'm going to do it. Let's do that. So you can see what I'm talking about. Let's move some stuff off to the side because it's getting a little crazy busy. So I have this little piece of duct tape, which, you know, I used off of something else. So I'll cut another piece of duct tape and cut it at a funky angle, because that was at a funky angle. And let's see. I'm going to tape it down until I know. Okay, so what I was looking for is there's straight edge here and it's a straight edge here. So I'm mirroring that. The colors on this are working with the background. Actually, I love that. Oh, I love that. So you can glue it down, or you could just use some double-sided tape. Maybe. This double-sided tape and magazine pages do not like each other. All right, glue stick it is. Glue stick. All right, and then we'll tuck this down. Oh, and I just realized this talks about storms, and this is water. So it even goes with the theme. It doesn't have to be all stuck down, but since I'm using a glue stick, I'm going to make sure that nothing is ripping. And then the art journal page is done. So as I'm going through, then, you know, oh, that's funny. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Now both pages say the same thing. Well, obviously I needed to hear this. Listen to the messages the universe gives you, people. So, you know, not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path. Double. Twin messages. That's hilarious. But here you can see how I used it. All right. So I hope this gives you some fun ideas of what to do with all those little bits of paper that are just lying around. You know, make yourself a bunch of these, then you have them as it's like the next iteration of your box of bits. They're just more put together and more contained, but it's still, you know, collage fodder is just a bigger piece. All right. Have fun with it. And I would love it if you are new here to subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're going to play with the collage or have played with it, please leave a comment below. I would love to hear about it. And don't forget to go and grab your quotes printable. The link will be below. All right. I'll see you in the next video, friends. Have a great day.